Every day of the week, every month of the year, you can find Kelly and Ed Meacham and their family hard at work at the Lemax farm. The Meachams have been running the dairy farm for 20 years, selling produce at their farm stand and running the farm-to-school program at the local elementary school. Over the years, the barns on the property have fallen into disrepair. While no one works harder than the Meachams, the dairy business is challenging financially, and they do not have the means to do the necessary repairs and painting to preserve these amazing structures. All of their available resources have had to go into updating equipment to keep the operation going. When they sought financial advice, the recommendation was to tear the buildings down. Fortunately, the Meachams care too much about the rich history of the farm to take that advice.
Ed Meacham, I'm current owner of this farm, this barn, and really appreciate the interest and support and helping to keep it going. And as you can see here, there's a lot of damage. It's the walls moving and shifting, and we're having a hard time when it's cold out to keep the barn warm because there's so many gaps and holes in the wall that it all needs to be straightened out and tightened up.
Recognizing the Meacham service to the community and the importance of the farm to the region's agricultural identity, a group of community members have come together to raise funds to repair and preserve this historic barn complex.
In the early mid-1950s, when I was a little boy, my mother and dad bought the McCabe property, the farm that's just down the valley from here. The two properties butted up against one another. You know, that was pre-interstate Vermont, and these fields and these hills and rivers and these barns were where we played. They were where we grew and learned and got ourselves in trouble once or twice, probably gave our moms a few gray hairs. But that's where, this realm was where we were children. When I look at it today, you know, some 50, 60 years later, and I think about these barns, I think about what it took to build them. I mean, they're big. It's a long way up there, and they've stood the test of time admirably. The people who cut all those pieces here on the ground and lifted them up there and set them in place, you can't help but find that marvelous. And I think about the farmers, the generations of farm families who walked into these barns on cold, dark January mornings to milk and do chores, and walked into these barns on broiling hot afternoons in July to milk and do chores. And I think about the cattle. You know, this was their house. This was their home. They think about the wonderful things that they gave us. And I can't help but say to myself, on our watch, our generation just can't let these buildings slip past the point of no repair. We can't, we won't, but we need your help. So please help. And when you do, feel that sense of pride that you've done the right thing with your money, how little or how large. Thank you.
You know, we've got a great opportunity here to save an historic barn in Heartland. The Maxfield Farm has been here ever since I've been here and many generations before that. And this barn is an iconic barn in all of the state of Vermont. And why do we want to save it? We want to save it because it's all about saving a tradition that all of us value in Vermont. It's our agricultural heritage. This barn represents incredible craftsmanship. We couldn't do it today. And if we don't save it, it'll be gone forever. It means a lot to Vermont. It means a lot to me. I lived in Heartland for years and years, and I used to drive by this barn and this farm every single day on the way to and from work, sometimes ride my bike. And I saw this in its glory days, and it's coming back. We've got the barn, we've got the farm, and we've got the farmers here that are getting the job done. So I hope everybody will understand that any place there is an historic barn like there is right here, that they'll contribute to help us save it, whether it's in Heartland, whether it's in Norton, whether it's in Dummerston. We want to keep the best of what made Vermont what it is today.
The $15,000 we are hoping to raise in this Kickstarter project will allow us to restore the oldest building in the complex. It is a 1790s English barn with unique features like massive gunstock oak posts. When the big barn was built in the 1890s, the Miller family moved this beautiful structure from somewhere else on the property and attached it to the east side. The good news is that some modest post, brace, and collar tie repairs, along with some sill work, and it will be ready for another 200 years. The overall cost for restoring all the barns on the property is $164,000. The Friends of Lemax Farm has already raised $65,000 and will allow us to restore the large 5-story barn and the attached high drive. But we are hoping to raise as much of the total cost as possible by March 1st so we can bid out the complete project for the 2015 construction season. If we are successful in this Kickstarter campaign, and with your help, we can include the beautiful Old English barn in next summer's work. Please join us in helping to preserve this unique piece of agricultural history.